And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask to do some experiments here, live in the hall on you. What I'm going to get you to do is to concentrate on the screen and use the light to do some experiments. What I'm going to ask you to do is to concentrate on the eye of the elephant. Okay, so you're going to stare at the eye of the elephant there. Okay, don't be distracted by me or the people around you, just look at the eye. Now what's happening is that physics is taking over now. Light from the projector is reflecting off the screen, it's coming into your eye, the lens and the cornea are focusing that to an image on your retina. It's an image of a green elephant. So as you stare there, what's happening is information is being sent to your brain by little chemicals triggering the nerves inside the back of your eye, sending the information, but it's using up your ability to see green. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a white screen, and here we go. And what you'll see is a pink elephant should appear, yeah? And it'll float around the screen. Let's just check, look back, look at the eye. Look, let's be really clear why this is happening. You see in 3 colours, red, green and blue. At the moment, as you stare at the eye, I'm using up your ability to see green. So what that means is that you're better now at seeing red and blue. Mix red and blue and you get magenta, or that pink colour. So here we go, let's do the next one. See those 4 dots down the middle? I'd like you to stare at the 4 dots down the middle of that screen. Now what's happening again, there's an image going on the back of your eye, this time it's in black and white. So where you see black, it doesn't need to use trigger information to send to the brain. Where you see white, it does. So if I now get that to fade to a white screen, what will happen is it'll inverse and you'll see a face, yeah? That face will float around the screen. Now, why does it float around the screen? It floats around the screen because it's not on the screen, it's in your eye. Okay? It's not on the screen, in your eye. And that's why when you look, it'll move around. It only lasts for about 15 or 20 seconds because all the time your eye is replenishing and getting ready to see properly again. Let's have a look at the next one. Now this is one of my favourites. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do, I'm going to ask you to look at that little circle right at the middle there. Can you see the little circle? Right in the centre. You've got to stare and see that little circle in the middle. It will feel horrible. Absolutely horrible. It'll feel like you're being hypnotised. You're not being hypnotised. All that's happening is your brain is screaming at you to stop seeing so much motion. It's trying to make sense of it, trying to slow it down. But what will happen is that it will forget to stop doing that. So what I'd like you to do is to take your hand and look at the back of it. Do it now. Now, what's going on? Why is that happening? If you could stare back at the dot for me. Stare at that dot. So all of that motion, what's happening is your brain is trying to make sense of it, tries to slow it down, but it forgets to stop. So as long as you're feeling really, really hypnotized by staring at that circle, turn to the person next to you and look at them right between the eyes. Do it now. Can you see a square floating? That square is not floating in front of the screen, it's a flat screen, of course it is. And if you gently move from side to side, don't do much, you'll see a 3D effect, yeah? You also look quite funny doing it. Let's have a look at the next one. Can you see like an oozing, sort of changing motion as you look at the screen? There is no motion on that screen at all. It's absolutely still. But your brain alters it, and it's very easy to fool you to see things in the real world which are not there. Look at the next one. Is it circles or spiral? Spiral. Look carefully, look carefully. It's definitely circles. But the more you look, the more you stare, you'll see kind of a rotating, it'll do your head in. And the next one will really do your head in. There is no motion on that screen at all. It's just in what you're seeing. Thank you. Now, what I've tried to do so far is I've tried to show you that the universe you live in is absolutely enormous. But it's made of these little tiny, tiny particles that you are made of. But you interact with that world, you try and make sense of it. Sometimes you do experiments, sometimes you just look and try and understand it. Sometimes you get it right. Sometimes though you get it wrong and you've got to slow down, you've got to stop, you've got to ask really careful questions. What's going on? Why is it doing what it's doing?